Welcome back, everyone. This is Bbeltdan, and we are constructing the Enterprise J in Blender. This is part 13, and this isn't really so much going to be a full-blown episode. I noticed the last episode went extremely long, but in between now and then, I've done quite a bit of work on the old Enterprise J, so this is going to be more of kind of a little update, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour of everything that I've done. I may do a tweak here and there on screen while we're looking around, but let's get started with the tour. As you can see, one of the most noticeable differences is that I kind of flushed out the secondary hull just a little bit. Now this here is a separate mesh piece, and eventually it will be blended into the rest of this, but I've kind of fleshed it out. Did some primitive work on it, just trying to kind of get a layout of how I think that it should look. The bottom is always going to be kind of a questionable, one of those little iffy type things that we'll do, because you don't, this right here is kind of the angle that you see in the episode, and this is the actual picture from the Ships of the Line calendar, so you don't really get to see the bottom. Now, later on, Doug Drexler released images of the same model from underneath and from behind, and once again, I got my own reasons as to why I'm not going to go 100% about why he goes at the bottom, why I'm not going to go by, the released image of the bottom. I'm just going to kind of just do my own little thing. I'm going to take some hints and ideas and clues from what he modeled at the bottom, but it's not going to be 100%. So this is kind of like the idea of what I have in mind. I mean, I'm going to borrow his idea. Where right here we're going to have the impulse engines. So yeah, they're going to be right in here, and this little area right here is going to be a actually, now that I'm looking at it, I might probably plan it out a little bit different, but originally I was going to have a large shuttle bay right here. Shuttle bay or small ships bay. So if not only shuttles, but if there's like small little starships that could fit inside here, like Nova class starships or what have you, could fit inside here and be transported by the ship. So I might still do that. It's just that we got this little this little detail here, which I'm sure is going to be part of the engine. It's just whether or not if that might interfere too much with that. We'll see. I mean, the shuttle bay for the original Enterprise is off in the back, and the engine is, right in front of it. So it might not be that big of an issue, but we'll see. And, kind of bulked out the wings a little bit. And, oops. And let's go look at the side view of it. Yeah, that's the side view. I might end up bulking this out a little bit because one little detail that I'm going to definitely add on here for two reasons is more of a bulked out secondary hull with even a secondary deflector dish. I mean, if you look at some ships like the Nova class and the Intrepid class from Voyager, they do have a little inside the saucer section, there is a secondary it's used for sensors, I'm sure, but it's also a secondary deflector dish. So, and then their primary deflector dish is right here. So if this goes out, they still have that. Well, I think in this time, it's actually the opposite. This is going to be the main, and there would be a secondary deflector dish right there. So if the saucer needs to separate, this ship still has a or this section still has a deflector dish, or if vice versa, both sides can have a potential deflector dish. So I'm going to be fleshing that out. And also the main reason is that somewhere right around in here is going to be the window, the very window that Archer and Daniel was looking out at to see the saucers, the bottom part of the saucer section during the fight in the Azati Prime. So I'm going to be working on that. But some of the changes that I've made, some of the lesser known changes is one, this part here, I went ahead and combined those two meshes together. Had to do a lot of work on the edge loops to try to get this all to match up. And I know I mentioned when I was working on the nacelles that I had to go back and clean up a lot of the edge loops. And when you're doing modeling, you got to make sure you have your edge loops right. Because when you apply this subsurf modifier to things, if the edge loops aren't right, you get some pretty looking wonky models. So I had to go in and fix a lot of that stuff, and you'll probably see what I'm talking about when I put the subsurf modifier eventually on this section right here. But I combined those together, added some color onto there, so when I render the image you can see this little engine detail a lot better. So I worked a lot on the, oh, also the deflector dish. I combined the deflector dish into this part of the hull right here and gave it a color as well. So I can start working on some of the details on that. And the nacelles, I've done quite a bit of work on it. I moved them around a little bit. Oh yeah. Also I've added these little details. I found a video of a flyby of the Enterprise J. Not my flyby video, but a different flyby video, actually using the actual model. You know, you could actually see when it was flying by, there's these two sets of lights on each nacelles. There's these little strobe lights right here in the back, which I went ahead and added, and you can see that right here. Looks like there's one at the top and the bottom. I only got one on the top right now, and here, and whoops, here you have these red and green little running lights, and they are there and there. So I added those. Whoops. Oh no, I didn't add it on that side, so I got to add that on both sides. I'm going to finish modeling this one side before I put them over here. So did some reshaping of the nacelles and realignment of the nacelles according to the pictures. Once again, worked a lot on the edge loops, and I've added in a little recessed area here to the back, which I'm going to show you. Yeah, right in there, where I'm going to put some, greebles and stuff inside there to kind of make this look like that, something juts out from here. Just put some little greebles back inside there. I have not done any kind of work. Oh, I've also did a little bit of work around in this area. I did actually a lot of work around inside this area. It kind of helps if I just bring out just the nacelle. It's on this one right here. There we go. As you can see, kind of made this little area more circled, so it looks like, rather than this blue portion here, once again I can't think of the name, rather than look like it's just intersecting into this model, I circled this, surrounded it, so it looks like it's actually encompassing it. Worked on this lip area right here, and putting in all these extra edge loops on here really kind of helps give this a lot of a cleaner look, I think. But I've went ahead and did the bottom and did all this, and this is going to be areas here where we're going to put some more greebles and little details and things. And as mentioned in the last episode, I'm going to put some extra little details here as like looking like external thrusters. So if for whatever reason they need to eject this to sail, it can be temporarily piloted away from the ship. And I might even try to put like maybe a couple little windows in here somewhere. Wait, I just saw something. Oops, hold up, what is that? Oh, okay, I think that's just more of a shadow issue. But put like a little window in here to kind of look like where people can stay inside the nacelle. I mean, you saw in the Enterprise D, people were able to go inside the cells. There were actually little engineering rooms inside the nacelle. So I'm going to have some of those little details in there to look like that people can work around in here if necessary. I mean, they get transported to there, but they can work around here if necessary. So I'll put a lot of little details in. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities that I can do with this ship. Let me go ahead and bring in all these other layers again. Whoops. There we go. And I'm going to also set, I mean, I could put some greebles, some details up and along underneath here. I'm going to try to do some work around here, like put like a hole in here to make it look like this. Instead of just intersecting, kind of just molds in here, molds or goes through. I'm still trying to think whether if I want this piece here to go through the nacelle, like there's a hole there, and it just kind of just fits on almost like it. Somebody mentioned one time in a forum they like the idea that this might slide up and down. I don't know how practical that would probably be, but it would look kind of cool. But I'll figure all those little details out. But yeah, it's kind of what I've been doing. Let me go ahead and also do this. I keep forgetting that we can do this in Blender now. To kind of give you a little bit of tour of how the ship looks, I'm going to go ahead and kind of move this over, move this down temporarily, make the screen just a little bit bigger. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on render here so we can kind of fly through the ship rendered so we can see some of the little details. And Doug Drexler mentioned that this ship is probably going to be about 2 miles wide or 2 miles long. And to kind of give you an idea of about how big this ship is, let's see if I can zoom in. I know I showed it in a different episode, but let's see if we can zoom in and then zoom out on, yep, I think that's it right there on that little guy. Yep, that's it. That little teeny tiny deal, that is kind of a place marker that I put on here that should be about the size of a human. You know, give or take the standard human. I mean, it's not as wide, but as tall as a standard human. So if you look at that, we zoom out. I mean, it's still itty bitty. Zoom out a little bit more. A little bit more. And a little bit more. Yeah, you can kind of get an idea of about how big this ship might be. Now that's just a place marker. The scaling may still need to be adjusted a little bit because actually now that I'm looking at it, it looks like that might probably barely make this saucer section as big as a galaxy. I don't know, maybe. Well, what are y'all's opinions? Y'all give me. Let's take a close look at the deflector dish. Yes, not too bad. Let's take a look at the nacelles here. Might need to make that smaller. Yeah, what Doug Drexler was saying is that looks like that. I mean, that would definitely signify some sort of brand new type of technology that we can't even comprehend. That thing could just be floating right there. I mean, look at that. But that's kind of how the nacelles look. If you look at not only the Enterprise J, but these nacelles that are on the Altair class, Altar. Oh, well, you know which one it is. That's kind of what they do. They just kind of just hang there. Oh yeah, and here's another little area here. It's kind of a blank area. I'm trying to think about what I could do with this little recessed area. I know he talked about how he could see the ship, because it's a multi-generational vessel. There's universities and parks and stuff in here. I could almost see in this area, since it's kind of enclosed, almost somewhat semi-protected, that you could, have like huge windows, promenades and stuff on here. Maybe a huge piece of glass right here where you can see in and you can see, you know, like a little park area or, a little forest area or something, and with a whole bunch of little, glasses here. Kind of like kind of like the 10 Ford Lounge, except it's not forward, it's more towards the back. So they get a back view of the ship, but yeah, it's a lot of areas, a lot of little hidden places that we can do a lot of interesting details on. So I said, yeah, back there is going to be the possible shuttle bay area. And let's take a look at the bottom of the ship. Yeah, I got to close in the saucer section and start putting some details on the bottom of the saucer section. But yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and do some renders from the top. Yeah, that's looking good. Let's look at it from the front. Let me see. Could probably see what I can do about curving the wings up just a little bit to give it more of an organic look. See, let's go more towards the bottom. Let's go ahead and go and let's look at the side. Not bad. I'm starting to look at seeing a lot of possibilities in this ship. Doesn't necessarily look the prettiest from certain angles, but it's not too bad. Oh, hold on, excuse me. Oh, ooh, sorry. For a minute there, I thought I was going to have to sneeze. Oh, don't worry, it might still be coming. So, but yeah, that all looks pretty good. So once again, this was just a real quick little summary, just to kind of show you overall of what I've been doing, especially with the holidays coming up. I didn't know if I'd be able to have the time to be able to do a full blown video, but for those of y'all that saw the last video, if y'all thought, hey, that was just a little bit too long, I apologize. I'm going to try not to make the other episodes that I do from this point on that long. I just got so excited doing it because it's been so long since I've done an episode that time got away from me. But the next episode will definitely be longer than this one, and I'll be actually doing some details on screen, but it'll be shorter than the last one. I guarantee y'all that. So once again, I apologize. But yeah, this was a real quick update. And so I'm going to be doing a lot more work on off screen. So when I come back, this should be a lot of these details should be a lot more fleshed out. I mean, I'll have something figured out back here. Maybe this kind of closed off with a prototype docking bay and main impulse engine to the back. And then next episode, as I mentioned, we'll go ahead and we'll start working on some more of the details on the nacelles. Until next time, I want to thank y'all very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.